Hey everybody, Phil Grove here looking at another deal, and this is a pretty big deal. This is a really nice house in a really nice kind of higher end neighborhood in Austin, Texas. Nearly a 4,000 square foot house with a spectacular view, as you can see way off in the distance. And this house is kind of interesting. There's a lot going on here. It's in a high-end neighborhood. These houses go for up to $1 million and more. This one's one of the smaller houses in the neighborhood, meaning it's around 4,000 square feet or just under that, and that actually makes it pretty appealing from the perspective of having the cheapest house in the high-end neighborhood is always going to be the easiest house to sell. That being said, this house has a lot going on. I'll go and give you a quick tour of the house. We're going to have to do it very quick because the owners are in the house, but fundamentally this house has not been maintained for going on 20 years. It's almost a 20-year-old house. It's only about 18 years old. Normally a high-end house like this in a nice neighborhood that's only 18 years old would be pretty much in perfect condition. That is, unless it virtually hasn't been maintained at all, which is more or less the case in this property. So I'll give you a quick tour. Like I said, the owners are home, so I can't maybe say everything I want to say, but I'll do my best. Looking in the house, there is a lot of things going on. Like as soon as you walk in, you notice that just about all of the doors in the house have some water damage on them. Some pretty nice flooring, a little bit worn, but probably serviceable. Most of the windows in the house do have fogging going on in them. When we go through some of the different bedrooms, we do see that the roof has some problems. It's caused some leaking. It's gone on for a long period of time. There's a little bit of water damage around the windows. Some of the baseboards are a little bit worn. There's a bathroom. This bathroom actually hasn't been used in a number of years. But that being said, things like this shower are actually in perfect condition, even though it's pretty dirty. Toilet, the seat doesn't match the toilet, so obviously that needs to be fixed up. And a little fogging going on the door. I'll walk outside. You can see the deck actually is pretty worn, and you probably can't see it, but the entire deck is moving. It's, believe it or not, a freestanding deck, and a freestanding deck actually is a little unusual. A lot of the wood on this deck is needing to be replaced, but it seems like the joists are in good shape, so it is repairable. In the backyard there's a pool that has clearly seen better days. If you look at the ground, you can see a lot of rock in the ground. So the good news is, when you have tons and tons of rock in the soil, it means they pretty much had to dynamite this hole into the ground, and it's probably a very, very stable pool, which means it's probably almost certainly structurally sound, although when it's been left filled with muck for years, all of the plaster is going to be hopelessly stained. So it will take some money and effort to replaster the pool and get it running again. The fence, is falling down in a couple of areas. We already saw there's some issues with some of the roof systems. Water around the door damage, and clearly there's some issues with some water leakage that need to be addressed. Flooring looks like it's in pretty good condition. There's a lot of things on the floor, so sometimes you don't know for sure until you actually take all the stuff out and go look. You can see from the upstairs, here's some more of that view, fantastic view, going off into the distance. Little closet, little bathroom with a double vanity, another shower. There's a lot of things going on with this house, like this shower. Has some very, I don't know what you call it, homeowner specific tile going on, right? So you've got decisions to make on a property like this where you have little fish tiles in this example. The tiles are in perfect condition. They do need to be cleaned, but they're not like completely up to date. So you got to make some tough decisions about replacing things that are good but just kind of peculiar versus keeping them. Here's another bedroom, another deck that looks more or less in the same condition as that last deck. Here's a window unit that's been connected up. Clearly the air conditioning system in this part of the house is not working. Look up at the ceiling and nails popping out. There's a number of places in the house where there's clearly been some water damage. Walking down the stairs, we'll take a quick peek in the kitchen and I'll wander out to the backyard. There's another little water stuff going on around the window. We've got stained concrete floors and tile floors. There are some cracks in the concrete. That's not super particular, and given the soil is all rock here, I'm not really worried about that from a foundation issue. Clearly all the external doors need to be replaced because you can see a lot of water damage on them. Taking a quick look, we've got another little library slash office here. Here's Shanoa. And
looking down at those floors down there too.
Yeah, we're looking down at the floors and there's some pretty significant termite stuff going on. The termites are eating into the hardwood floors and they're eating into the baseboard. Okay. This is a little bit of a mystery to solve because on the outside of the house, we're 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and usually when you have termites coming into the house, they're coming in from the outside where the ground contacts the side of the house. Well, the ground is nowhere near the side of the house. We couldn't find any conducive conditions to termites or termite tubes on the outside of the house. So the big mystery question is, where are these termites coming into the house? And that's a problem that's going to have to be solved. Going back around this way, we've got a little master. There's a nice little door going out to the pool. And got a concrete floor in the master bathroom. Cabinets are in decent condition, but given the price of this house, they probably need to be updated. And they are, looks like laminate cabinets, so there's really no way to paint them, unfortunately. There's another termite issue here. This is pretty significant as well. Now this is right next to a jacuzzi tub. Now this is probably an easy problem to solve, meaning whenever you have a tub on the ground floor, generally there's a hole in the slab underneath the tub, and that's a common place for termites to come in. So we could probably just cut into this wall, figure out where those termites are coming up through the plumbing, and solve that problem. So I'm not as worried, believe it or not, even though this looks worse in some ways, about this termite problem versus the other one. The other one, where I have no idea where the termites are coming from, that one's a little scarier to me. Not a big shower. It is got tile that's in perfect condition, probably just needs to be cleaned up. These mirrors are not the modern style. The modern style mirrors will be just hung on the wall versus mirror or wall size mirrors. But this is pretty common for properties that were built in this era. A lot of times you can actually tell how old a house is just by looking at the fixtures. You know, this is just post-brass fixture era, right? You know, so when you see these chrome but older fixtures, you know you're probably dealing with homes in the 90s. If they were brass, you'd be dealing with homes in the 80s. So there's a little pool computer over here. This is not functional. But the wiring is in place and it could be replaced. You know, when you have a pool like that, boy, there's a big question to ask. You know, do you fix it or do you just fill it in? It costs about $5,000 to fill it in. It costs, you know, $5 to $20 to fix it. And you got to decide if you're really going to get your money's worth out of that activity or not. Sometimes we just fill it in and go on. Got a dining room over here. And I'm not going to be able to take you into the living room other than to just take a quick peek around. Same kitchen and living room. Got a laundry room here. A door going into a 3-car garage. And right in the three-car garage. Look at that. There's an old Porsche sitting there. That's the risky business Porsche. And who knows, that could become part of this deal. Sometimes we do pick up cars and other things along with houses, and that could be a little bonus perk. It's also very common, by the way, when you pick up one of these houses for the house to be filled with stuff. And this is what money looks like, folks. You're not going to find pretty houses in perfect condition that you can get at good prices to make into renovation projects. I did look earlier at the control panel for the power. It does look like it's all modern and up to code, which is what I would have expected for a 1995 era home. Here's a fun little feature. They actually have a little doggy shower in here. So we're about to get this thing under contract. We'll share the numbers with the video after we get this deal all wrapped up. I'm Phil Grove, signing out. Thanks.